Hello, beautiful and beloved ones. Welcome or welcome back. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions. And if you wonder about that strange title, this year I'm doing a message about this historic shift from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness after every other music reaction. But there's tons of those messages on my playlist entitled 5D Message. So today, though, we are having a message, but first, we're going to do a reaction to Alip Bata, Goodbye. Here we go, by Air Supply, by the way. How he did that, we're going to have to go see that again. But did you see that whoop-de little thing with his fingers? He's always throwing in a bunch of extra little notes. You just never know what he's gonna throw in there, right? We'll go back and check it out. Don't forget, friends, by the way, that I have now some member tiers, and I've been furiously putting videos in there and things for you to take a look at. So take a look at my video about that if you have any interest. Maybe you'll join me this year. Let's go back a little, though, and see that whoop-de-whoop thing. Here we go. I just love to watch him play. Listening to him is wonderful, of course. I could probably lay there with my headphones on and listen to him all day long. But watching him and watching his fingers, I'm so happy that he shows it to us. Because, you can see it's like it looks effortless to us. Now, we know it took a lifetime, his entire lifetime, to perfect it so that it looks effortless to us. But man, doesn't it look effortless? And I've tried a guitar, and that is not effortless. So I really love him. I'd love to hear from some of you guys. Have you ever seen another guitarist that just so kind of looks so effortless? I never see him break a sweat. It's always just like doing all these machinations with his fingers and never even breaking a sweat. Comment, by the way. Give me a comment on that. I'd love to hear that. Also, don't forget, if you're enjoying this, give me a like and give him a like afterwards. I always put it in the notes so you can just shoot over there and give these wonderful artists your like and just give your vote of appreciation. And also subscribe. Okay, friends, let's go back. Actually, let's just continue forward from this point for now. notice he's plucking both different hands at the same, or at the same time. Oh my goodness, craziness. Oh. You gotta see that slide again. I mean, you gotta see that slide again. It's craziness. Let's try it again. Let's see it. Got a little fingernail there. So, I think he's using his fingernail almost like a pick. You never see him with a pick, by the way, right? He's always his fingers, but I think he's got a longer fingernail on his thumb and he's using it as a pick. Let me know if I'm catching that. Let in the comments if I'm catching that right. God, look at that's so great. And he's got one hand really, the fingernail's very short, of course, because you've got to be putting them on the on the frets and so forth. And the other one, he's got it long so he can use it like a pick. This guy is so wonderful. He just has such a heart for music. I just love this guy. Somebody said to me the other day, I appreciate that you can't do it, you keep doing Ali Patah. And I said, I commented back, you can't stop doing him because he's so flippin' great. You just know every time you're going to get something great. And this song, I'm going to get out of my, here we go. And this song, like I said, you could put on the headphones with his music and just lie there, and just listen to that music and let it drift you away into some sort of nirvana state. Because anything he plays, and it doesn't matter what the song is, it just makes you feel good. Now so let's put this on our scale then, because this song is about, a breakup of a relationship. That's what the song is actually about. So you have that kind of a little bit in the back of your brain. But again, the way he plays it, you're not even present to any sadness. You're just present to the beauty of the music and how he plays it. So if you put that on the scale, like 1 being very third dimensional, fear, pain, sadness, anger, suffering, and just in the way he plays it, now I'm talking, and 10 being very fifth dimensional, love, peace, joy, bliss. There's a lot of bliss in there. There's a lot of peace in there. Your harmony is in there, the way he plays it. Now you have the idea of a breakup in the back of your head because you kind of know the words of your song, but still, it's pretty darn high. So I think if I go on a 1 to 10 scale, I would go with about, on this one, like an 8.75. And it just tweaks it back a little bit because you kind of know the words and it actually is a sad song, but not the way he plays it. So he's just a very high vibrational guy. I bet, I bet he's a great father. I bet he's a great husband. I just get that feeling of him like being this cuddly teddy bear kind of guy, a nice friend, everything. He's just that kind of guy. So you can put in the comments, if I write on that, if you know anything about that. I don't know if anybody knows anything about his actual personal life, but that's the feeling I get from him. So, by the way, friends, if you'd like to know a little about me, you can go to the About Me video on this channel. And that leads you to a little longer video, if you so desire, about what I call my forged in the fire of 3D journey in my earlier life. And also, if you look in the notes there is About Lorelei on Patreon. As many of you know, I've been a life coach. I've got tons and tons of personal growth training. And that's what we call transformational. The ability to transform your life itself and get rid of that old baggage from the past. That's the training that I have. And so on that Patreon page About Lorelei, you'll see some of the things that I've done or I've created or that you might want to participate in just to take your life to the next level. Okay, let's get to our fifth dimensional message. So this is because I was thinking of this song. I didn't know how he played it all, but I thought, let's just bring off the song here. What is the 5D way of viewing what we call a breakup? What's the 5D way of viewing this thing that we call a breakup? So, first of all, let's just really I say this thing that we call a breakup because I say it that way because actually in the fifth dimensional, there's no such thing as a breakup. There's absolutely no such thing as a breakup. Now you say, well, how could you be, but there's no such thing as a break? That's crazy. Now let's just first understand what happens with a soul, if you will. So when a soul is first created, it's a whole sort of thing. It's a whole unified whole here. It's got the male energies. It's got the female energies. It's got all the energies in it, or I should say the what we call the I guess the oversoul. We'll go with the soul. We'll go with the soul for lack of a better word for now. But there's different ways of calling this, if you get into really metaphysics and all that. So then those two individuals, that individual breaks off into two individuals. That individual breaks off into a male component and a female component. Now, first of all, though, when that individual is all unified, it's just a luscious, delicious, wonderful experience. And first of all, that becoming that coming into being is just this luscious, delicious, wonderful experience. So then they break off, and each one takes the male, one takes the female. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't go into various lives and aspects and so forth. They're going to go into various lives and aspects and try out different female lives and male lives, either way you cut it. But each one has at a core either the male or female energy, so to speak. So now when you come to the higher dimensions, you have suddenly an opportunity to come back together with your twin flame, with the one that you broke off from. As a soul, as a beingness, as an individual, you come back together with that one and you become at one with that one. Now, that doesn't mean that, again, you can't then go off and do other things again without each other, and you will, because my goodness, you're eternal souls. You would not expect that you would just cling to each other and never go off and explore and do other things, right? No, that would be crazy. What would be the point of being an eternal soul with the ability to experience anything and then say, but I'm never going to experience other beings. I'm just going to experience this one being, right? No, that's crazy. That's insane, okay? But still, the experience when you come together is luscious and delicious. Like, you can't even believe it. I tell you this because I've come together with my twin flame, my twin soul, if you will, in the etheric realms. I've come together as a spirit. And I could tell you about one experience when literally I was catapulted out of my body and just cavorting around the universe with this one, right? I didn't know it was my twin flame at the time, right? But that's a whole nother long story. But I had that very real, live, active experience when I was hugging a person, right, who was a male, right, that literally I catapulted out of my body with this twin flame and was, cavorting around in this space of love, That other person didn't have the same experience. It wasn't his twin. It wasn't him. It was my twin flame. So there's been a lot of other experiences beside that when I finally figured out, oh, that's what that was back then, right? So you just this is the most delicious experience to come together with that one. But still then, you spend your amount of time, in the higher dimensions with that one, and then you go off and do other things and you experience other beings and other individuals and their wonderful energies, not just in a male-female way, but in all kinds of different ways, right? And you don't ever have to worry about it because at any time you want, you come back together with that love, right? And you never have to glom onto anyone else because there's this largesse of love. So if you go and you hang out with somebody else for a little while in that loving space, and it's not a physical thing like it is here. So let's, for the most part, you could play in that arena if you want to, but mostly it's not a physical thing. It's just like this wonderful love energy, which is like unbelievable, right? But, so then you go with that person and other person or individual, I should say, and you're doing that, in a loving space or whatever. And then you leave and you go to others and other places and back to your twin or whatever you want. But you also know you could always go back to see that one at any time. Anytime you want, it's an eternal life, and there's so much love and there's so much bliss and there's so much ecstasy. So you would actually never have an experience of a breakup because you would never say, I'm going to stay with this person forever. And you would never then feel like you'd lost something in the going away from that person, you see? So a very high vibrational way on this earth of viewing a breakup is, first of all, to not even think of it as a breakup. Don't even think of it as a breakup. Just think of it, we came together for a space of time and we got whatever we got out of it, and be grateful for what you got out of it. That would be a higher dimensional way to view it. You are grateful for when you come together with people in whatever way you come together, whether it be to do, make beautiful performances or to, do fairs or whatever you're doing, or to in a male-female way. You're grateful for having that wonderful experience. So then you would also be grateful that you had that wonderful experience. And you would not think upon in the experiences you had, you would not think about any of the negative experiences. Now, in the higher dimensions, you wouldn't even have the negative experiences. But in the third dimension, if you want to view it from a higher perspective, you would not think about those negative experiences, right? Because anything we think about also creates more and more and more of that. So we don't want to put our focus on that. You would put your focus on the wonderful things about that experience. And by the way, that's a great way to attract to your life the person that you really do want, and the person that would be, or individual that would be perfect to you in this third dimension, as well as the higher dimensions, because that's what you do all the time. You only think upon what it is you loved. You don't put a focus on the other thing. If you don't put a focus on the other thing, it can't spring up in your world. So we're viewing first of all, we're stopping viewing it as a breakup. We're viewing it as we had a wonderful time with this person, grateful for that person, sometimes upon the, when we do think of it, thinking upon the wonderfulness of it and how good it was in certain ways, but not with a longing like we're sad that we don't have it anymore. Because here's the crucial part about it, is thinking upon what's next and thinking upon the now moment that you're in. You see, when I go out in my garden and I'm working all around there, I'm not worried about what love interaction may come into my life or not come into my life. I'm enjoying my gardening because that's a wonderful thing. If I'm singing a song, I'm enjoying the song because that's a wonderful thing. And if I lay down on my bed and I want to, travel around with my twin flame, then yes, at that moment in my imagination, which is very real, even more real than this physical world, actually, because that's what created it all, right? Then I can do that, go into my imagination, and suddenly I'm with my twin flame. And they call it the imagination, but it's actually a real thing. It's actually not imaginary. It's actually real. I don't quite know, how to express that to you, but the imagination is you creating an experience that is real. So, I can look, if I'm going to dream upon something, I'm dreaming upon what it is I want. and I'm actually being in the moment, experiencing it, that is happening in my imagination, in my dream, which is very real. And then the thing takes on a life of its own, by the way, because then things are happening because it actually is a real experience that maybe you didn't expect. And my twin is taking me here, there, and everywhere. And, we're cavorting around the universe again, So, because, he's also very real, So the point, though, that I'm making is to put your focus upon what it is you want in something. Imagine that. Think about that. Do not think about what you don't want. Do not think about having a sadness, because there's an abundant universe out there. There's no reason to be sad. There is so much for you to enjoy and so many beings for you to enjoy love with. The only reason that we don't get that coming to us is when we close off our hearts. And when we literally put a stop on that coming to us by saying all the things that we don't want, by focusing all on what we don't want, or by saying that there's no one for me to love, or, all women will, all women will use you, all men will walk away from you. I don't know. What are the things we say, Those are the things that close us off from having those beautiful relationships coming to us. And I'm not saying that in this third dimensional realm you wouldn't, necessarily have certainly it's probably a good idea to have a one-on-one relationship, because you don't want to have all these energies swooping in on you, which are negative energies, right? From all these other people. You're having to navigate one other person's energy, right? Which can be positive or negative at different times. You don't want to have to navigate a whole bunch more and get that swooped up into your beingness and into your life and all that. So certainly in this third dimensional world, it's a good idea to, pick a good, loving, wonderful partner and then stick with that one, assuming that the thing is working, assuming that it's working for you. Not to be flitting all over the place, because you do have a physical reality where you're going to get a lot of negativity coming in here if you do it the other way. But when we're talking about like an arena where there is no pain, where there is no negativity whatsoever, no negative emotions whatsoever, then you have freedom. You have freedom to explore the universe and to go do what you want and be with other individuals and be in these different energies of the other individuals. And it's a wonderful thing, but I did have the experience, though, I will say, that in giving of the vow and saying a vow to this one that I was married to, that it kind of stuck me in there, because it was very, very hard to leave when the thing was really not working. So if it's not working, you don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be in a relationship that's really, really not working for some reason, okay? So that's going to take you down. It's going to take your vibration down and everything else. So when I had given a vow of marriage to this one, and we had children, of course, that makes it more difficult. It was very difficult for me to then get out of that situation when it was really better for me to do that. So that's kind of what vows do to us in this realm. They can stick you into the situation. So it's just, there's no like right or wrong. You can't say this is the exact right way to do it. You should do it this way. I think marriage is a wonderful thing and everything else. But I would say, like, be really careful when you write your vows, what you're saying, right? What are you promising to, But anyway, that's a whole another conversation for another day. But so the way of viewing this breakup from a higher consciousness is to just be in love, be in joy, be in peace about it. Think back on the good things and then look forward to other wonderful experiences in life, whatever they may be. Okay, beloved ones, I'm sending you that fifth dimensional energy, the love, the peace, the bliss, the joy, and looking back on all of your life with a gratitude for every little bit of it, because it all contributed something to who you are now. Okay, sending you that energy now. Here it comes. Namaste. I honor the God in you.